What's going on, guys? And today in this video I'm going to be teaching you guys science. This is the first video of me teaching you guys science, and for this video I'm going to be teaching you 5 types of species interaction. This is the subject science, and I'm going to tell you a fact that last quarter when I was in school I took that lesson. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to put it into good use, and I'm going to teach you guys that lesson on YouTube so you guys can know the 5 types of species interaction. Alright, so let's get to this video. So there are the 5 types of species interaction. Number 1, we have competition. 2, predation. Number 3, we have parasitism. 4, mutualism. Last but not least, commensalism. I'm going to tell you stuff about this in this video. I'm going to tell you the 5 types in this video, so make sure you listen, make sure you're with me, guys. Competition is a relationship in which different individuals or populations attempt to use the same limited resources. I'm going to tell you about the photo in a moment, but first, each individual has less access to the resources and it's harmed by the competition. So it can happen within the species or between the species. Like in this photo, you can see buffaloes and zebras. They're trying to drink the water to not be thirsty. They're drinking the water and it's going to be used up because there's so many different resources or different individuals. There's so many different individuals, that's why the water is going to get used up, because you can see so many in that photo. But anyways, there are 2 types of competition. Number 1, we have interference competition. Interference competition, that's when individuals, they fight over resources. Like for example, lions will steal kills from wild dogs and hyenas. That is what I learned in school, but in this photo you can see 2 deers. They're fighting. You can see their heads are close to each other, or the horns close to each other, because they're fighting to get the resources. Sorry guys, I just have a sore throat because I couldn't breathe too well the other day, and it's taking time for me to recover. But anyway, so this is the 2 deers. They're fighting over resources, as you can see here. And another one, we have scramble competition. That's when individuals, they try to get the most resources but without fighting. The winner is the fastest and gets the most resources. Like for example, the fish feeding on plankton or sea turtles, and sea cows feeding on sea grass. Like in this photo here, there's the orange and black and white cow. This is when they try to get the resources, like for example grass. They eat grass and they're trying not to fight over it, as you can see here. So how do species interact with each other? That's a good question. Niche. And niche can be described as a range of conditions in which a species can survive. Like for example, plants can only survive in particular range of temperatures. Like, what does it mean? Some plants can survive in cold weathers, but others can only survive in warmer weathers. And certain amount of rainfall. Like for example, some plants can go for a little rain, but others, they need a lot of rain to grow. And it needs enough nutrients. Regardless, no matter what, plants needs enough nutrients to grow so well. So keep that in mind, guys. Number 2, we have predation. Predation is an interaction where one organism or an animal, they kills another animal or organism for food. And this is reminding me of the food cycle or the food chain that I took in the last 2 quarters. Actually, in quarter 1 I took that food chain lesson. I don't know if I still remember it, but if I find that lesson anywhere in my archives, I'm going to teach it to you guys, inshallah. When I find that lesson, I'm not sure when, but when I find it, once I do, I'm going to teach it to you guys on YouTube. So Stay tuned for that if I find it. But anyways, predator is an organism that hunts. Now there's two. There's predator and prey. Like I said, predator is an organism that hunts for another organism. And the prey is the animal that's eaten. Like for example, in this photo, bears is the predator. Bears, they always hunt for fish in the lake or in the river. That's is what bears do. They hunt for fish. And the fish is the prey. The fish, that's what's eaten by the bears. Number three, we have parasitism, which is actually somewhat more interesting than the other two. Anyways, parasitism is the relationship between a parasite and the host. And there's two, like the predation. So parasitism is an organism that lives on the host and feeds on it. Sorry if I forgot to add the T, that's because of my keyboard. Probably need a new phone soon. But, I'm not gonna get into too much about it, so I'm really sorry, guys. But anyways, the parasitism, that's when the organism lives on the host and is feeding off of it. And the host is the organism that the parasite takes its nourishment from. So that's the host. So the host, when the parasite is on the host can be harmed and it can be weakened and exposed to diseases because of that parasite. But it doesn't necessarily kill the host. It can also allow it to live longer. If you didn't know, guys. If you didn't know, sometimes the organism can let the other live longer. Like for example, flies live on dogs, if you didn't know. Live on dogs and live on humans. The flies is the parasitism. Or not only flies, but it can be mosquitoes, it could be insects, could be bugs, stuff like this. That's when it lives on dogs and humans. And the dog is the host, or the human is the host. That's when it can cause itchy red bumps or chicken pox. This is what happens for parasitism. So here's a statement. For parasitism, one species has benefit, but the other doesn't have a benefit. It's actually harmed. So keep that in mind. This is the statement here. Number 4, we have mutualism. Mutualism is a close relationship between two species. What does that mean? For example, bacteria in human. Both of them, they digest food and they make vitamins. They produce vitamins and make the humans grow strong. So here's another statement for this. For mutualism, both species provide a benefit. So that means two species are not harmed whatsoever. They both have benefits. Number 5, we have commensalism. Commensalism is a relationship in which one species has benefits but the other is unaffected. Like for example, a relationship between orchid and trees. The orchid grows around the tree's branches but without harming the tree. So I forgot to add this statement, but commensalism, I'll tell you, this is a statement right there. One species has the benefit, but the other is neutral and is not affected. That is the statement here. Thank you. Now I'm going to tell you a bit of a fact. That this lesson, I find this lesson pretty easy and interesting. All I just got to memorize the whole thing. And I'll tell you, this is how you study for school. You find a peace and quiet room without too much noise. Like for example, I sit in the room on the left side. Or if this is too much noise there, or if it's not easy to study there, go to the other room, like the one on the right. It's this bigger room and it's peace and quiet and nobody really goes there, so you can just sit down either on the couch or on the chair or the chair with the table. You can do that either way. And when you get to studying, you say, okay, Bismillah, and get to studying. Now, if you are really focused in studying, it's only going to take like a few hours. I hear it can only take 1 hour, but if you have a lot of lessons on the line, then it's going to take a few hours. And the day before the exam, you have to re-study to make sure that you're prepared for the exams. So keep that in mind, guys. And that's the facts here about this lesson. And I've taken that lesson in quarter 3. So in quarter 3, I took that lesson on 5 types of species interaction. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this inspires you about science, because my favorite subject is science. My number 1 favorite subject, because there's so many interesting things about this world and all this. This is why I love science. But my second favorite subject is math, because I love to play with numbers and all this. I love playing with numbers and doing a bunch of cool stuff. I used to love math when I was a kid. When I was little, I loved math. I adored math. Anyway, so thanks for watching this video, and hopefully I can make more cool teachings in the future, like teach science, teach math, and all this. I can't wait, guys. Alright, so see you guys again in the next video. Peace.